right. Excited to be back with you guys.
Yeah.
If you are listening or watching, we are happy that you are here today. Mm-hmm. Are you happy everyone's here today, baby? Yeah. All right. I'm just double checking. We're going to start off today, as we always do, with a review from one of you. This is from UT_SG247.
It's very efficient.
Very efficient.
I like it.
Okay. Great insight, real talk. Last year, February 2023, we split up. We were on the verge of divorce. Our marriage was a mess, mainly because of my mistakes and transgressions. During our split, I somehow stumbled on a reel on Instagram of Brad telling his story. It resonated. I started listening, and my wife then started listening. I feel like this podcast opened up a dialogue between us to help us begin discussing our issues and start to reconcile our marriage. It gave us hope. Listening to Brad and Lisa felt like we were talking to someone who truly understood our situation. Fast forward to today, about a year later, after some very constructive therapy sessions, a lot of podcast listening, being in the scriptures every evening together, praying every night together, a lot of hard conversations, and a ton of hard work, we're doing amazing. Our marriage has never been better. I know that doubling down on our faith and inviting God into our marriage has been the catalyst that has made the difference and helped us heal and reconcile. We've truly witnessed a miracle unfold right in front of us. We've both been changed by God's grace. Thank you, Brad and Lisa, for showing us how to open that door and invite the Lord into our relationship. Thank you for the example you set. Thank you for being open and honest. We're now expecting a new baby this summer. As you begin your walk with Christ, anything is possible.
That's so cool.
Isn't that amazing?
Little baby.
Yeah.
When was that?
I don't know the date.
Oh, it's been a minute though. They probably already had the baby.
Yeah. If you've had the baby, we want a picture.
Yeah.
So send us a picture. I will tell you, I'm so thankful for those of you that leave reviews and share with us. We even got an email this past week, and it was from a guy. And I mean, this guy told us, I have listened to episodes 1 through 145 this summer.
That was actually a comment on our YouTube page.
Okay. Well, whatever. I got it on the email.
So, because it goes to the email. Yeah.
So regardless, I was like, man,
that's cool.
That is unbelievable. Yeah. He probably knows us better than we know ourselves.
Seriously.
But we're so grateful for those of you that share your heart and your stories with us. And, you talk about that this brought you hope. That's why Brad and I get on here, and we're passionate about just giving hope in those places that are broken and what God can do. The fact that in this particular review, I just love how he talked about all the work that they did. Mm-hmm. It's not this magic thing, but it's therapy and podcasts and scriptures going after God and hard conversations. Yeah. But they got to see the results of that, which is powerful and amazing. So thank you for sharing that. Send us a picture of the baby.
So cool.
We want to see baby. Brad loves himself some babies.
I do.
Anybody who's listening,
some friends of ours, they just have a baby too. He looks like a little Cabbage Patch doll. He's cute, dude, and he's super chill. When you pick him up, he's just like, just chill.
Yeah, Brad saw him yesterday. I'm like holding the baby, leave me alone.
Nah, give me the baby.
And he's like, give me the baby. I'm like, no, get your own baby. I'm holding the baby right now. Lord have mercy.
Oh, gosh.
So the topic that we're going to talk about today actually did come up from our small group, which I'll tell you guys, if you are not in a community of believers with marriages that are intentionally moving in a direction that you guys are wanting to go, please go and get involved in something like that. And they're always available. So don't think like, okay, well, no, this isn't, and nobody's come. Like, no, it's available around you. You need to go and find it, yes, but it's available. And we don't lead this group; we just go every week.
Which is kind of nice.
It's so nice.
Not just to go. Yeah, I'm not getting at that. It's just kind of nice not to be leading it.
Yeah, we just go.
And you're seeing other couples stepping up in that leadership role, and it's super cool.
Yeah, I love it.
It's fun to get to know all the couples, to all the backgrounds. I mean, I think we have 3 couples that own restaurants.
Yeah,
in there,
which is also amazing.
Which is yummy.
Mm-hmm. Which is yummy.
Exactly.
Yeah, so definitely a group. But during conversation last night, we ended up talking about love languages and respect, and just kind of some interesting conversations that came out from that, because so many times, typically you see a couple and they've got you know, here they're married, and yet their love language, how they receive love, usually they're not the same.
No, they're not.
Sometimes they are, but usually
we took the test recently because of the marriage group. So my top love language right now is quality time.
Why are you giving me a look like that? Just like, it's quality time.
It's just interesting to me.
Yeah, I know, because yours was always physical touch.
Physical touch. I mean, come on. Yeah, of course it is.
Brad's like, it's still up there, guys.
Yeah, it's still up there.
I still have physical touch.
No. No, it was quality time. I just thought that was interesting.
Maybe as you've gotten more in touch, we talked last episode about you being more in touch with your emotions. Maybe the quality time has mattered.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. No. I was just thinking. So I've taken over stories on Instagram. Yeah. So if you guys do follow us on Instagram, amazing. Like, I'm trying to drop stories like all the time, little snippets and stuff like that. But anyway, I did screenshot my test results, right? And I thought it would be interesting. So what I put on there was like, look at mine's QT, quality time. Right?
Thank you for clarifying.
I'm just making sure you're tracking. And then under it though, I said, but Lisa, it's all of them, right? Just like it's funny, but you know.
Yeah.
It's also true. You do say that. And a lady DM'd us and she's like, mine's all of them too. And she goes, I hear that from a lot of spouses that have gone through crisis. Like a lot of wives that she knows that have been through, which is sad that there's that many that she knows have gone through something. But she's found that to be a common theme. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. Well, and for me, I think obviously acts of service for me is number one.
Wash some dishes.
Yeah, well, I've told you, for me, when you see a need or when you step into a place where you're recognizing, like, there's all these things that in my mind, as I've told you before, there's always a list in my head, baby. Yeah. Like, at any point you could say, honey, is there something that you would like me to do around here? And I'd be like, boom, boom, boom.
But I got
17 things for you.
I like a little I can't even talk right now. I like a little mystery.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, so I don't ask that all the time. I just like,
interesting.
Keep it a little edgy.
Interesting.
Try to figure it out. No, so I will say today, so Lisa's getting ready for this, a big garage sale for our daughter, to help our daughter.
Which I swore I would never have another garage sale.
Yeah, but here we are. So we live in a border town. Garage sales get pretty crazy here. I'm sure they get crazy everywhere. I just feel like this is our experience, right? Yeah. It'll be good. But we're doing it to help our daughter.
Now, I want to say this real quick. Not every garage sale is an experience, like being in a border town.
I don't do garage sales.
I'm from Minnesota. Okay. I love garage selling. Yeah. Never before do you have people like just like, your garage is open, I'm going in the garage. What's for sale in the garage? Like, no. It says garage sale, but I mean out in the driveway.
First time, thank God my dad was here. The first time we had a garage sale here. This is so funny.
10 years ago.
I'm like walking out the door and a dude passes me.
Trying to come
and he opens the door to go in the house. And I was like, no. And my dad because I could speak Spanish, but I'm not very good at it. But my dad's fluent. And so he's like, hey, get out. What are you doing? You don't go inside the house. And the dude thought legitimately this is an estate sale.
Tables out there. No.
This is an estate sale. I'm going to go in the house and see what else is going on. Get a snack.
Literally.
Right. No, but anyway, so Lisa's getting ready for this. I had to do some stuff. And all of a sudden I hear, I think it's just a glass. I hear something break. Right. And then I hear our daughter like, Mom, I need you. But I was busy, so I couldn't do anything. Right. And so anyway, fast forward, I walk out. Lisa's in the garage. I walk out and I go in the kitchen, and it is like
an oil slick.
Yeah, it's cleaned up, but I stepped in there. I started sliding around. And I'm like, "What in the world?" And our daughter's like, "Oh, I dropped a bottle of olive oil," and I was like, "Oh man!" It was everywhere. I could see where it spilled. Right. So anyway, I was like, "Well, I don't know how to fix this," so I'm just gonna keep doing the thing, whatever we're doing, just going to keep doing it. But then I was like, I honestly thought this, and this is not to pat myself on the back at all. I just think it's a good example for what we're talking about.
Right but if you want to know, I did an act of service for you.
Yeah, so I did a big act of service for you. So just a heads up. No, so it was still slick. And so I go outside and I'm like, because I didn't know what spilled. So I go outside. I'm like, hey, what happened in the kitchen? She's like, oh, the olive oil, you know. Then I talked to my daughter and I found, oh, okay, I figured it out. And Lisa's like, I cleaned it up with whatever you used, some natural, you know, thing.
Yes, guys, I'm a little bit of a natural freak. Okay.
You're crunchy. You're crunchy. It's fine. I like my peanut butter. I like my peanut butter crunchy.
Women, I would be like,
I like my peanut butter crunchy. So I mean, you're crunchy.
No,
it's cool.
It does not work.
Okay. Anyway. No, so I went back in and I'm like, there's got to be a better way to clean this up. So I look it up, I Google it, and it literally the first thing that pops up is like dish soap and hot water. And I'm like, well, that makes perfect sense. And so I cleaned it up. Right? I didn't call you in, like, figure it, but I cleaned it up. Like, I was like, oh, let me get this done. Not because I was looking for, like,
I got a story.
Brownie points. Oh, I'm going to go to that one, too.
Okay.
Not because I was looking for brownie points or anything like that, but it was because I knew when you came back in, like, that was going to be a thing still.
Yeah.
And it was just,
I'm out there trying to get everything done for the garage sale, yeah.
Yes, and so you're getting all this garage sale done. We're recording. And our recording now is like a whole thing. You know, it's a whole setup. It's not just plugging in like we did before. So it's this whole setup, all this stuff. So we're preparing for that garage sale, stuff breaking. And then my son gets home from work. And so now it's time to move items from upstairs to downstairs. Mm-hmm. And we have some locker thing that's like
for those
old
of you who
school,
homeschool, you get it. You got to find places for the
school locker thing, like the little cubby hole locker. It doesn't come apart. It weighs
heavy.
I don't know how much it weighs. I really don't. It is heavy, but it's also big.
Yeah.
So that could be part of why it's so cumbersome. So my son and I are moving that downstairs, hitting the wall. I'm sure I'm going to have to like patch up a piece of the wall here and there.
Haven't seen that yet.
And, you know, like figuring all this stuff, get it outside. And then Lisa's like, oh, there's a bookshelf too. And both my son and I look at each other like, are you kidding? So we go up there and we're moving that. And then you said there was something else. Mm-hmm. And I was frustrated.
Yes.
Because I was trying to get, like, I want to do, like, I need to think about this, right? Like what we're doing right now. Like I gotta like, let me think.
Oh my!
Right?
Oh, please!
I have to do that. This is part of my preparation.
Okay.
Right? So, but anyway, so I was a little frustrated, but I was also joking around a lot. Like my son and I were laughing a lot about it, and we just thought it was funny. You didn't think it was funny, but we thought it was funny.
So here's what, and I'll say, and if there's any women who have acts of service love language, you can tell me if you also feel the same way. Because for me, so two things. If I have to, ask you repeatedly to do something, or even ask you, I work on asking, but if I have to ask you, like it kind of takes it down half a notch. You know what I'm saying? Like I want you to see it and then do it. Like I looking out at the yard work and I'm going like, I see that the yard needs to be done. Right? I see it. So then I'm just like, if you are just like, I'm going to go do the yard work, boom, you got 20,000 points. Let's put it.
But I delegate the yard work.
Listen, I'm just giving an example. If I had to say, man, the yard really needs to be mowed, and you do it, it's 10,000 points.
Okay.
But so you're moving the things down, right? But you don't give attitude while you're moving the things down. 0 points. Literally 0 points. Like, okay.
So basically today for me is I'm not at negative points. I'm just kind of like where I was when I woke up. I am. Because I cleaned up the olive oil. Yeah. And you can't even tell olive oil spilled in there.
I wasn't putting you in the negative. I said 0 points.
Well, I'm just saying.
So you're actually in the positive with the olive oil.
No, because I grunted wrong when I was taking the locker down.
Yes, you did. 100%. Because then I'm like, no, I've been busting my butt all week long. So you can grunt yourself down and take the locker out.
I didn't ask you to do this garage sale. I don't care.
So just if you guys want real life, this is real life, guys. Not that you should be ranking
No.
You should not rank your spouse on
Even though Lisa already said that.
Even though I said it,
giving me
you
points.
shouldn't. But anyways, all of this got us to discussing kind of what this looked like when it came to your love language and the fact that it's a lot of different many times. Like yours is not acts of service, and not that it doesn't matter to you, because you obviously care the things that I do for you, but we receive love in a different way. And I think it's kind of a beautiful way to grow in your relationship is because we can meet each other in those places.
But it's not, this is the big, where everyone gets it wrong, is I'm not pushing quality time on you because that might not be your top love language.
There goes the eyebrow.
You know? So like that's, you know, cause like I'm not, so what was kind of, I thought was kind of interesting to me is gifts is super low.
Yeah.
I think you've just gotten me there, right? Like, are you giving me gifts?
I got you.
No.
You never gave me anything, so that love language got a lot lower. Is that what you're saying?
It wasn't fed, so it was just like, it goes away.
Don't worry, babe. You shrunk my one initial love language down.
That's not what I meant by that, but that is pretty funny.
You starved that love language out of me.
I starved, put it in a cage, didn't feed it. Like, now it's the lowest one there.
I'm like, that's hilarious. A stupid one. You can't have that one.
Oh my gosh. No, that is no, what I meant by that is just like you're not a gifts person.
Yeah.
Not giving, but receiving. Like you're not a gifts person.
Yeah.
So I think that
I appreciate it, but it's not like where I'm like, oh, I have to have that to get love. Yeah.
No. And I've never been like that either, where I'm like, oh, I don't feel love because you haven't bought me something.
Yeah.
But I just think the more we've grown together, like that's just been pushed down to the bottom because it just is.
I think it is cool that you kind of grow into where you learn to love one another. And So anyway. Sorry, I starved your gift.
Yeah, that thing is...
Baby.
That homie's in the corner right now just like begging for a piece of chicken.
Give me a cupcake.
Yeah, that's all he wants. Just something.
Now I'm going to have to be better at this. Although, honestly, that is something... I actually do enjoy giving you gifts.
Yeah.
Like, I do actually surprise you with gifts off and on. So just FYI, if you want to give me points,
I'm not.
You can give me some points right now. Okay.
Everyone judging you right now? No, not at all.
Brad randomly starts receiving gifts in the mail from people who are just like, I'm sorry that your life is this way. Anyways. No, so all of this brought to this aspect of even it came down to respect. We started talking about respect and ways that we can inadvertently disrespect our spouse. And it kind of went from love languages to this, and I know our conversation has as well, but it was really interesting as we really were just diving into the topic, because I think that respect is different a lot of times for how people perceive it. But I think a lot of times in our marriage, we inadvertently disrespect our spouse. And a lot of times we don't exactly know that we're doing it, and the person that feels disrespected doesn't exactly have the language either. Just they have a feeling that just like, oh, that, like, man, like that kind of sucked. But they don't exactly know why or can't put their finger on it. And so we wanted to talk about that a little bit today, like ways that we can inadvertently disrespect our spouse. And I'm going to start off by a way that I inadvertently disrespected you. What?
Well, no, I'm glad you're starting off with that, because I'm sure you're going to have a valid point.
Obviously.
Because, but I don't know it.
You don't know what I'm going to say?
I mean, I don't think I know what you're going to say, but, and not saying that maybe it wasn't a disrespect on some level.
It's inadvertent.
Oh, no, of course. If this, if we're going to back up.
Blatantly disrespecting your spouse, that's a problem.
There's a big problem there, right? If you know something it's huge.
Yeah.
But, no, like I said, I'm anxious to hear your example, because I don't know if I feel disrespected, but maybe after you say it, I'll be like, oh.
Brad's like, I have been disrespected. Give me a gift.
Yes.
Give me a gift immediately.
Yes, exactly.
No. So I think there's two times I can think of that I feel were inadvertent disrespect to you. One of them is when it comes to, like, my dad is a fix-it man. Like, when he comes into, like,
he used to do that.
Yeah,
for
like,
work
he,
too.
even though he's a pastor, like, he really does have the ability to, know a little bit about all things, if you will. Now, is he the most pretty fixer of all things? Sorry, Dad, if you're listening.
Yeah.
No, he gonna fix it, but doesn't mean go look better afterwards.
I have a story, but go ahead.
Yeah. So, anyways, many times when my dad has come, I would have, like, a list of things for my dad just to, like, work on while he was here. And it was never out of a disrespect to you. I think because I am an acts of service love person, right? And so my dad is a doer of all of those things. And so he'd come and I would just be like, oh, like, he's looking for things to do. He's a little bored, so he would just kind of go around and do things. But inadvertently, I never really talked to you about it, but these are things that, you typically would do around the house. And I inadvertently disrespected you in the process because I didn't, like, say, hey, is it cool if I have my dad work on dun, 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 dun. Yeah. I never had the conversation with you. I just kind of was thinking in my mind, like, I'm relieving things from your list that you have in your head.
Yeah, a huge list. It's super long. Super long
the list does not exist in your head, so you're clearly not stressed about it.
You'd be shocked.
Yes, you're right. You do have lists in your head, just not the same as mine.
No.
Yeah.
No. So, yeah, I think that's valid.
You never made a big deal about it or anything like that.
Right? Yeah, because excuse me, I don't know what that was.
But the reason why I bring it up is because I think we do this is when we decide something in our own head that we're going to fix something a certain way or do something a certain way, and we don't have the conversations with our spouse, and we end up stepping
like
on their
with
toes.
your dad coming to and you give him a list. I guess I've never really sat and thought about it. Maybe on some things have bothered me, but really it hasn't bothered me. And I would say this, the only reason is I feel secure.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm very capable. I don't know everything he knows. Of course not. Right? But I'm very capable. And I'm also quick to say, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. Like my pride is not, I'm starving that too. Like I'm not, it's not a big thing to me. Right.
Yeah.
So, I see where you're coming from, and maybe if it was something that I really wanted to do and do it like I had this idea of the way I was going to do it, and then maybe he comes in and does it, and it's like, I was,
I think ultimately for me, why I felt like it might be inadvertently is that I'm not honoring like your ability.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, you could perceive that as me saying like, you're not going to do it or you can't do it.
Yeah. I think that if there was some underlining issues, then maybe I could take it that way,
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
Brad's like, am I offended? I'm trying to get there.
I don't get offended very easily. I really don't.
Yeah. But I think this is where we're saying it's inadvertent.
No, I know. But if it's disrespect, it's disrespect, like inadvertently or not,
right.
Like I feel like I should feel something, right? And I'm not trying to dig up a feeling of like, you're right, you did disrespect me. Like, I can't believe that.
Disrespected.
Yeah. It's like, I'm sure is that what happens? Like sometimes when you're going through like, therapy and they're like, well, what happened in third grade? And you're like, you know what? That is why I'm doing this. Because I didn't get my snack. I don't know. I
feel like it might be more serious than
probably
that.
But no, that's why I'm saying, like, I think if there's underlining issues or if there's an insecurity issue, then that's when you'll get more of a, riled up husband and or wife if you have an in-law fix something. So the funny story I was going to tell about that was we were refinishing a table, right? We got a table as a gift. It's like super old. I think it used to be a door, right? Like a big barn door or something. I don't know. It's a cool table. So anyway, we're refinishing it, right? So we're like, putting these clear coats on there, but you got to do them. It takes a long time because you got to wait for one to dry, then put the next one. Because if you do too fast or too thick, it becomes like cloudy.
Yeah, like a waxy
coat. Like waxy, cloudy. So we're like, very thin coat, couple hours, go back, very thin coat, just kind of like that. That's a process. I don't think we had a table in the dining room while we're doing this in the garage, whatever. Lisa and I go out, we come back.
My dad says he's going to take a nap.
It's so great. It's so great because your dad's like, hey, I finished the table for you guys. And I remember I was like, oh no.
It's like, I put an extra thick coat on for you.
It was so funny. But I mean, it worked for a while. Then we had to redo it. No big deal. But no, I just thought that was a funny story. But just getting back to the seriousness of that, that example you gave, insecurities or underlying issues. So if we had some underlying issues that we weren't dealing with, and then you were reaching out and, for your dad to do stuff while he's here.
Overstepping my husband.
Yep. Then I think that, but I feel, secure. He doesn't really do that anymore, but if he wants to come down and do a bunch of stuff,
hey, Dad, if you're listening, I've got a list. No, but I do think it is important to kind of know what you are dealing with in your marriage. And I have one other thing.
I'm waiting for the second one.
That I know you're also not going to say was a big deal, but I would say if you're listening, I think it's also really important that you have enough introspection to think about, do I need to adjust some things about myself? Because I don't always think that it's like this, where you're thinking I'm trying, or I might have inadvertently disrespected you, but I think there can be adjustments made and to help improve your marriage and in your communication and to not get those underlying issues, to not have insecurities. And I think that's where this lands, is where for me, this was a working out process in me realizing how I communicated with you, how I love sarcasm and I love laughter. And I grew up in a very sarcastic home. And I grew up in a home that if you love somebody, you are very sarcastic with them, right? And I love when you and I can go back and forth with things. But I think when we were first married and before everything imploded, I would land more in the sarcasm or mocking even of you versus flirtation with you. And it was something that God kind of wrecked in me in the process of when you were gone, was this element of, I didn't want to just, I never wanted you to feel like you were the reason I was laughing. I wanted to laugh with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I don't think it was ever an issue between us, but it was something I felt God wreck in myself, where it was I wanted you to be, and it was funny because God wrecked this out in me before I ever knew we were going to reconcile. Yeah. But it was something just in myself where I realized I wanted you, or if ever we were going to reconcile, or even if there was a future relationship, I wanted that honor to be there in the way that I communicated. And I don't even know if you ever realized, when you did come home, the difference when, I feel as if I got a lot more flirtatious with you.
Yeah.
But I don't know, if that was really evident, but for myself, I felt it, if that makes sense. And I think it was an inadvertent disrespect in the process. I almost got playful with you, but not in a borderline, I feel, disrespectful way, where it was oh, okay, well, this is funny. And even if I'm making fun of you, I thought it was funny. And not to the point where some people get really demeaning, but I think it was just something that God wrecked out in me, where it was okay, our words really, really, really matter. Yep. And especially with our spouse, they matter even more. And I had the ability to draw something out in you with the way that I spoke to you. And in doing so, you speaking to me, I love that we flirt with each other. I love that we play with each other. And I don't know if we've ever even talked about that shift or if you've ever noticed, but that was something for me.
No, because I think that, so when we first got back together, I didn't notice I was just noticing.
I was trying to survive.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, honestly, right? Yeah. It's not in a bad way, but it was like, I'm walking on eggshells. Like, I don't know if I could do this. I don't know,
Right.
Like, that was my focus. It wasn't, I've seen that she's more flirtatious.
Yeah, and I wasn't probably in that very beginning. I would preface that. It's not like you came home and it was like a wrecking ball and I'm like, hey, let's be flirtatious. No, it was really like as we were in the process of healing and not.
No, I don't. I mean, maybe there's some suppressed memory or whatever. I don't have I understand 100% what you're saying.
Right.
I've never felt like that. I'm good about laughing at myself though too.
Yeah.
Like I kind of
difference.
I don't know how that came around in me because I don't feel like that was something that happened at home. We did laugh, a lot. Of course, we had blasts growing up, but I don't know if that stemmed there. But I know, I could think of specific situations where literally all I could do was laugh, and everybody was laughing at me, not with me. Like it was, I remember in college, I dropped a tray of, food in the cafeteria, and it's, fell down the stairs, dropped the tray, like everything goes trash. Of course, everyone starts laughing.
Yeah.
What do? You get up, you start laughing too, and put everything away. I'm crying inside. No, it just was like, well, there's nothing else to do. Like this is funny.
Right.
So I don't know if that's because of that, but I never felt like you were disrespectful in any way. But I will say this for sure. Now that you say it, and I'm like looking at it, you definitely are way more flirtatious than probably even when we were dating.
Yeah. Well, I hope I'm more flirtatious than we were dating.
Well, no, I know, but like
then I'm like end goal, like I could get there. You know what I'm saying?
But even when we were dating, you're like pulling out all the stops and all that stuff. So that's what I'm saying. Like I think even more so now, that's the way it should be. Mm-hmm. First of all, even if you don't have to like work on that, like throughout your marriage, like it should be stronger the longer you're married.
Yeah.
But anyway, no. So I think that's like you made valid points. I don't feel like, I don't know, maybe I took a weight off your shoulders right now. Like, I do not feel disrespected,
I mean, publicly apologize right now.
Exactly.
No, but I think it's important. I mean, I realize I know that it's not an issue for us now and that's not something that's hanging between us or anything. Yeah. But I do think even when I was going through it, when I was thinking about it, that it is important that we do assess and make adjustments as, even the longer that we're married. And I think it's really easy, something that came up, when we were in this group yesterday is like your tone, right? How your tone can show a lot of disrespect, which is funny because we just had this example of you moving something, right? But if your tone is not what I want it to be, your response is not what I want it to be.
My grunt had a tone into it. It
had a tone.
Like I was like, this is heavy.
No, it wasn't. No,
it was a disrespectful tone.
A disrespectful tone. Okay.
No, so okay, since you like, I did this to disrespect you. I did this. I'm trying like on the spot right now to think of ways that I've disrespected you. So for sure, tone, right? Like when I'm like, no, I want to do this, and it's usually it's usually not something that I'm doing like, selfishly, like, oh, I want to do this right now. It's something that I've got going on, like whether it's looking over the text that you sent me for today's recording and me trying to like, not internalize it, but like think through it and like, oh, okay, I like this and oh, maybe I'll bring that up, kind of going over it, right? Before we start recording and then getting, hey, I need you to, and I knew that stuff needed to be coming out. So it wasn't a surprise, but it was just like, you got to get this down. And I'm not, like this whole garage sale stuff that stresses me out. Mm-hmm. I know I'm weird. Like this stuff stresses me out. Like I go in the garage right now and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just,
it
this
stresses
stuff stresses.
It's like he hasn't been a part of the process at all.
No.
It's just
other than moving things.
Just today.
I don't even care what prices you put on things. Like I'm like, you guys want to do this? Knock it out. I'll be here.
It's the exact same attitude your daughter has.
Yeah, but it's for her. I'm like, girl, get over there. But anyway, so, oh, wow. Look, I guess someone's calling you on your computer.
I'm like, hello.
No. So I know, like, today, yeah, for sure, my tone. I don't think I said anything Tony wise.
Tony.
But, because Gage and I, my son and I were laughing the whole time too, because it was almost like this, like, okay, we're going to go back up and do this.
This is what happens is so often, just because I know you so well, right? So no one else is going to think, oh, you gave a little attitude or you gave a little tone, right? But I know you. Yeah. And I have a thing where if I feel like I'm bothering you.
Oh, gosh.
Right? If I feel like I'm an inconvenience, I'm out. And that is a problem, right? Like, for sure, because
she's not out like she's leaving the house.
But I'm like, I won't bother you. Like, I won't come back. Yeah. Like, I'll do it myself. I'll figure a way to make it happen, because I'm an acts of service person, right? So for me, like, that's a way of loving. So if I'm bothering you and I'm asking you to do it, then I'm not going to ask you to do it, right? Yeah. And because this is a weird thing. It's already vulnerable for me to ask.
Yep.
And so then it just is, like, because I don't want to bother you.
No, yeah. And you're like our youngest is just a spitting image of my wife. But no, so I know, like, today, I did the thing, but my tone wasn't like, even though my son and I actually had a fun time doing it, like, it was weird.
Well, I kind of laughed because of the difference in both of you guys' approach, because our middle son is like the... he just finds joy in, like, participating with other people, right? And so even hard or menial tasks, he will find joy in it.
So much so, I had to tell him before we started, I was like, hey, because he's telling me about this podcast that he sent it to me, and I'm like, I'm going to listen to this, and I'm not done with it, but whatever. So he's talking to me about it. Hey, what about this? What about that? I was like, hey, man, check it out. Like, I need you to focus, because if you slip, this thing will crush me.
Yes.
Like, and so he's like, oh, okay. So then after that, it was like focus, but we were joking with each other the whole time.
But afterwards, I hear him and he's like, that was fun. That was a fun time. And I'm like, that's what I'm needing from you. Every time you do something like, that was a good time. Like, the lawn was amazing.
So I know that, well, you keep saying the lawn, but they do the lawn.
I know.
But, so I know that showed disrespect, so I need to be better about that. I don't know. So maybe you can point it out to me, which I'm fine with.
This always makes me nervous.
Right? But I don't know if I do, like, are there things that I do that show inadvertently disrespecting you?
I mean, I would say this is something in general that every marriage struggles with in some way, shape, or form. But I know I've said something to you about it before, even though I know myself, I also struggle with this, is when we're having a conversation being on the phone. That's, like, for me, like, really bothers me if I'm talking to you and you're still on the phone. Like,
I don't feel like this happens, because literally today, no. Like, I mean, I'll own it. Yeah. I own it.
Both of us have done
But literally today, you came in I was still working out. You came in the garage from working out, and you were like, boom, 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 like, just telling me these things. I was in the middle of answering.
Yeah, I didn't feel disrespected in that moment.
But I told you.
Yeah.
You kept talking. I was like, hey, babe, just, like, 1 second.
Yeah.
Go like this. And I'm going to finish my text and then just let it all out. Like, get me, But I did tell you, like, hey, I'm actually right in the middle of something.
And that actually matters. I'm talking more about, like, let's say we're just having, like, casual conversation and it's like, oh, I'm, like, looking at a reel, or oh, I'm, like, in the middle of this over here. To me, then, even if you're hearing me, you're not hearing me.
No, I know. You got that snowballed a whole night one time.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. Because because I was in the middle of something and I stopped talking and you didn't, like, even realize that I had stopped talking. And then I'm like, okay, not important.
I think I told you I thought you were done.
Yeah. Also, FYI, not a good look. Don't say that to your wife.
No, so I'll be better at that.
Yeah.
But I'm like genuinely, I was curious because.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I wanted to bring it up because of the fact that I think that is a normal problem in a lot of marriages, is that we've tuned into our phones or we're being entertained by that, and we're not just like, this is not the important thing. And especially like, your quality time, or if your words of affirmation or whatever that is, like that connection point of you're more important than this is a big deal. And I would say if you are in the middle of something, then you need to make sure that you say that to your spouse. Like, hey, can you give me a quick minute? Yeah. Right? To me, that's not disrespectful.
Because
like,
it's communication. Like, there's so many things that could be solved with just a little communication. Because I was even thinking about the times where you've made me feel weird, and I just call you out. Not mean.
Right.
But I'm like, whoa. Like,
Yeah.
Or
it's my favorite that you always say, like, you just say, whoa, what's good? He actually doesn't say that.
So, whoa.
Whoa, calm down. Don't say calm down to your wife, okay? Little marriage tip. That's not going to help you.
Yeah. No, I can't even think of it. I was trying to think of an example, but I know, like, you've come across where I'm like, man.
Right.
That felt a little attacky or whatever. I don't know. And so then but I tell you right then and there, like,
right.
What's going on? Like, why?
Yeah.
But I think it's important that you have
that. And then if you can respond without getting defensive.
Yeah. Well, and also, again, if there's underlying issues, you do that could start a whole fight.
Yeah.
And also even with this respect thing, that's why I was asking you, like, what, because your two examples, like, I could see it, but I don't really feel disrespected. Mm-hmm. Right. And I can't think right now of where you make me feel disrespected inadvertently, or I mean, you're not doing it on purpose at all, but
maybe that is a good question for you to ask your spouse. Like, is there an area?
Yeah. That's why I asked you.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I was like, one up to you right there. But I think that is a good thing to mention. Is like, hey, is there an area where I make you feel disrespected? Because it's those conversations that help grow your marriage, and it's not like this. That is a really, really cool thing when you can have that conversation and not allow it to implode, right? This is the worst thing when, like, if I had said to Brad, okay, it really makes me feel disrespected when you're on your phone and we have a conversation. And the thing is, well, you get on your phone.
Oh, I hate that.
Well, that now has shut me down, and it makes me feel like I'm not listened to, and I feel like now that the conversation is done, and that's when you end up in an argument. Yeah.
So don't do that, right? Well, no, I want to get to this because it's like, there could be very valid and truthful in saying that. Yeah. Right? Because a lot of times there's no self-awareness when people are disrespected or mad about something. There's no more self-awareness. It's like, I'm perfect. I don't do that stuff, and so that could be valid. Like, you're on your phone all the time. Like, if we're staying with the phone thing, right? Yeah. You're on the phone all the time. Every time I talk to you, blah, blah. But that's not the time to do that. Right. So it's just like, oh, okay, I won't, I'll be better at that. I don't want to disrespect you. Yeah. I don't want you to feel that way. And I think that's a good question to ask your spouse. It's also, if you're living your life, your marriage, right? If you're striving for this marriage that you want and all you're trying to do is honor it, like everything I do honors my wife, you're probably not disrespecting her inadvertently on a regular basis. Yeah. Right? And like now, today, clearly I disrespected you, right? Like you felt that on a level, whether it was a, higher level of disrespect, lower, whatever it was, but you felt that. Mm-hmm. And so I need to work on like sucking it up. Like, I'm happy to be here. Give me the 300-pound locker. Let's go. Move it down the stairs. Come on.
I'm just looking for a little joy in all of that.
Let's do this,
No, I think it is in this weird way. Like I've told you, for me, acts of service helps me to feel seen, right? And so there are certain things, especially that I cannot do on my own. And so when you recognize that and you step into those spaces, it helps me to feel loved, protected, seen. And so when that is in any way, shape, or form done without this, attitude, and I'm not saying it's got to be joyful, but just like, I want to help. Yeah. I think that's what matters to me, is like, I actually want to be helpful in these situations. And I think that matters when it comes to knowing your spouse's love language is, obviously no one finds a lot of joy in moving a 300-pound locker, but the way that you can love your spouse is to say, like, I know that she needs help here, and that matters, and I want to be helpful. And that is this honoring side of things. And have that conversation with your spouse, and then make sure that you choose that honorable side of things versus, kind of our own fleshly reactions, right? We all have them. I don't feel like doing that right now, right? I don't want to be nice right now. Like all of the stuff, like there's...
That's weird.
People having a rough day. You're like, at the end of the day, you're like, I'm just done, right?
But you don't say like, I'm going to be mean right now because I had a rough day. So if you talk to me,
if some people
just
are
know,
feeling that way?
Well, I don't agree with that. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm saying you shouldn't.
Well, no, what I'm just saying is that feeling, like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm going to be mean today.
Okay,
like, no,
I didn't say mean today. I said, I don't feel like being nice right now.
What's the opposite of being nice? I don't.
There's an in-between between nice and mean, okay?
I don't. Okay. It's like...
Anyways, choose to be nice. No, I think choose honor. I think that's a great way to put it, is that, you have to really grow in your marriage, and for your spouse to know that you see them, hear them, love them, that you have to step into the spaces where that they see that and feel that naturally. And it may not be natural for you, right? That came up a lot last night. You have a husband who's physical touch, right? Yeah. And you're very low in physical touch when it comes to the love language. Well, you're going to have to extend some things that you don't normally, like you're going to have to hold hands and hug and do that stuff because you want them to feel loved by you. And then also I will say this was kind of an interesting thing we talked about very quickly before we get off, is that I know for me, especially when I had my touch quota filled with all of my kids on me when they were really little, for me, feeding your love language of physical touch was like me saying yes to sex. And especially when my touch quota was so full, it was like if I didn't want to say yes to sex, I was saying no to all physical touch, which was not healthy. And you have to separate those things too, that the love language of physical touch doesn't mean that you're saying yes to sex every time. It means that you are, hugging, holding hands, sitting next to your spouse, letting them know that that connection point matters. And once you have that filled, then most often they can fill that emotional tank for you as well. And you end up, both of you, being able to connect everywhere.
So also with the disrespect thing, I do want to say this. So if a spouse feels disrespected because the husband or other spouse, I don't, trying to keep it, but it can happen both ways, but honestly, it's probably not. So if the husband hasn't taken out the trash and the spouse has asked him, his wife's asked him, 3 times to take out the trash. Now she feels disrespected because he hasn't done it. Now he feels disrespected because she keeps reminding him of it. So it's kind of like this cycle that you can get into very, very quick. It could be the dishes, right? Like it doesn't have to be the trash. He hasn't done the dishes and I'm going to tell her, do the dishes. Sounds so weird to say that.
Seems like those are both very similar things.
Yeah, but I'm making it like for both,
right?
For husband and wife.
Were you saying wife do the dishes, husband do the trash?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I said it's super weird to say that because I've never told you like do the dishes.
That's so. That's of all the things you could say. Well, wife, cook me dinner.
Yeah, I've never said that either. So I just thought it was just super weird. But anyway, no, you just have to be careful with this.
Yeah.
Because I think what people need to realize is that if someone's asked you to do something a couple times and you're frustrated because you don't want them to remind you, you need to start thinking like, I'm probably disrespecting them by not doing it.
Absolutely.
I'm not honoring them. Maybe you don't say I'm disrespecting. I'm not honoring my wife. She's asked me to do this a couple times. Let's get up and do it, right? Delayed obedience is disobedience. So just move and do it. Or if you can't do it, that's it. I can't do it right now. Yeah. I'm in the middle of something, but as soon as I'm done, and if you forget and she reminds you, oh, shoot, you're right.
Yeah.
Let me go do that. But it's just this, I think that this happens where the guy starts feeling disrespected. And so he's like, I ain't doing it. You know, kind of like this show. Right?
Or he does genuinely forget. And then she's reminding him and he's like, I'm not your kid.
Yeah.
You know?
And then it just, this mutual feeling of disrespect that just keeps building. Where if you just start communicating a little bit more, just a little bit more.
Yeah. And
you can solve all these problems
really
and to
matters.
follow through.
Yeah.
But I just thought I'd hit on that real quick because
That's
I
good.
feel that that's something that comes up a lot.
No, I think that unequivocally is true and causes big tension points. So we already gave our challenge.
We did.
I mean, we talked about it a little bit in the thing where now I'm trying to remember what I said. In this episode, we talked about doing something and now I'm trying to remember what it was. But either way, I cannot remember. I literally lost it.
I don't know. I don't think you...
Well, because we asked, you need to ask your spouse.
Oh, yeah, that's a good challenge.
I was like, wait a minute. I know we talked
about this. That's a good challenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need to ask your spouse, is there an area that you feel, or is there a way that you feel I disrespect you? And
be open.
And then,
so when they drop the bomb, you're not like,
you can't be defensive.
I don't do that. Like,
right.
Yes, you do.
My encouragement for you would be that you do not then, like if you both are listening right now, like give each other some space to have this conversation on like at separate times, right? Yep. So you're not sitting there like, well, you do this and you do this and you do this and you do this. The way that you approach this really matters, and allow that stuff to be things that you really think about before you respond. You know, give yourself 24 hours or 48 hours before you like respond if you think there's something there that isn't valid. But really allow yourself to contemplate, like, is there something here? And do I need to work on it? And then have that conversation with your spouse. Yeah. So that'd be the challenge. So if you guys are listening to us on Apple or Spotify, we want to encourage you to come over and subscribe on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, we are also on Apple and Spotify. Leave us a review, subscribe. We love you guys. We'll see you next week.